this point. So my name is Welcome to this undergraduate parent information session. What we will be doing today is we'll be introducing John Cabot and listening to parent testimonials, family testimonials. We'll be doing a short poll. We'll be listening to the Dean of Students. She's a very important person here at John Cabot, tell you about all of our safety protocols and who to contact. And then we'll have a Q&A. So please, all your questions in the Q&A box and they will be answered. And then we will tell you how to connect with us. So my name is Danette Anderson. I am the Director of Enrollment Marketing. I have been with John Cabot for 17 years. And a little secret, I'm also the parent of 3 students who went through John Cabot, our alum, and as a parent, I can say I'm very, very happy and I would make the same choice again. And I'm also pleased because we're here to address your concerns and so you can listen to the Bozzi family and to the Marone family as they are also parents of John Cabot alums and current students, I believe. So starting, John Cabot University will be having its 50th anniversary next year. And we are a liberal arts university and we're accredited. We're an American accredited university. We're accredited by Middle States. This is the accrediting body of the Northeast of the United States. So all credits transfer, they are American credits, they're accredited, and it's an American degree. So any of you parents of degree-seeking students, the degree is recognized in the United States as an American degree. Our mission is to bring together our liberal arts American university, and we bring together study abroad students or freshman students from universities. We have partnerships with degree-seeking matriculating students. So this is our mission, is to bring these 2 groups together. And it works really well because we have students from over 80 countries and from over, I believe, 38 states and over 113 universities send us their students. So it's actually a real mini United Nations at John Cabot, and it really does transform your students and builds their skills also, for their future. Here we have some beautiful pictures that we can see about all the families that we have. And you can see, okay, the next slide, we can go on to the next slide. Okay. All right, and now I wanted to introduce our panelist, Arianna Cati De Gasperi, who I believe you can see. She's the Director of Admissions, and she will be responding to many of your questions in the Q&A. I repeat, please put your questions in the Q&A, and Michelle Rosuelo, who's the coordinator for partner schools, any visiting students, study abroad students, or degree-seeking students. She will also be answering those questions, and I am Danette Anderson, yes, and a parent. And so we hope that between the 3 of us and the 2 families that we have, we can answer all your questions. Should we not answer your questions, you can write to, for the degree-seeking students, admissions@johncabot.edu, and for the study abroad students or visiting students, studyabroad@johncabot.edu. But we do hope we will be successful. So now we've introduced you to the John Cabot staff. And before we introduce you to the others, we would like to ask you a question. We have, as I said, we have 79 attendees. We're expecting 100. Now we have 80. We're expecting over 100. So the question is, where are you from? In which area of the world? At the moment, we have 90. Okay, this is, I don't know if you can see the screen, but we have 2% from Africa, 2% from Europe, 90% from North America, 3% from South America, 3% from Asia. That's very cool. Let's just wait a few more minutes to see what the poll is. So mainly from now it's gone down to 86% from North America. So let me just tell you, normally our enrollment is about 55% from the United States, 25% from Italy, and the rest from the rest of the world. So this is not quite, okay, you cannot see the results of the poll. So I'm going to tell you when we end the poll. I'm going to tell you. So it's basically 84% from North America. Here, 3% from Europe, 5% from Africa, 4% from South America, and 4% from Asia. Okay, so we can end the poll now. So I would say we're pretty diverse. Okay, now I also want, now you're seeing, now we actually had another question, if you are parents of degree seeking, okay, can you see it, or study abroad, but from what I see, I believe you are both split down the middle. So I think now we can go on to our parents to start introducing our parents. So we have here Michelle and Gregory Bozzi. Thank you so much for being with us. And Stefania Marone. So Michelle and Gregory are here from New Jersey. And Stefania Marone is here from Liberia. And she will also tell you, I mean, I don't want to spoil the secret, but why she's in Liberia. I'm so excited to have you. Thank you. So Mr. and Mrs. Bozzi, would you like to go first and tell us about your experience as parents of Allison, who graduated in 2019? Amanda, I'm so happy you're excited. I am too. This is wonderful, and I love that it's live. Greg, you might want to take off the video, not the video, the audio. You're on. You're muted.
Is that better?
Okay. Yeah, much better. Perfect.
My wife likes when I'm muted, I think. So I'm Greg, and this is Michelle, and our daughter joined John Cabot, I guess, 2015. Was that her freshman year? She graduated on time, 2019, and we have nothing but great things to say about it. We have 4 children, one that graduated from St. Joe's, one that's at Pitt, and one headed to Suffolk. And John Cabot was probably my favorite college experience through my children. So it was safe. It took a little getting used to, I guess, when I dropped her off in August. And I saw all the questions you're going to ask. So I'll wait for that. We had a great experience. And we're really hoping that our other 2 daughters either end up there or at least do a year there. So, Michelle?
It couldn't have been more wonderful. And getting to go.
Now, can you move the computer?
I'm sorry. No, it was a wonderful experience. We loved going to visit. As far as the education was wonderful, her time there, her travel, she'll see more of the world than I will ever see. It's just been overall phenomenal.
Danette, dealing with the faculty and the staff at John Cabot and comparing that to the other universities and even the private schooling that we were able to provide the children, we found the staff there top notch of the faculty there, the way they cared about the kids and the way they delivered their message and just dealt with them as individual young adults. So that's another big thing.
Let me just share with you that when we do exit polls with students and we say, what's the best part about John Cabot? And they all unanimously say the professors. And then of course they say, oh yeah, the staff too, but the professors, because professors are very, very dedicated and really do take their time to forge relationships because we are small. I mean, we normally only have 1,300 students. And it's, as I said, half degree seeking and half study abroad. But the classes are small. We have 15 students per class, which enables the student, staff and faculty to have relationships with the students. So how was your experience with the initial welcome? Did you accompany your daughter to John Cabot?
I did, yeah. It was as organized. It was super organized. The schedule went off pretty much on time. It was busy. We were in one of the 2, the Scully B or 2, or over by the Palatine Hill. I don't know where it was, but it went very well. Better than Pitt's, Pitt University.
Again, we're small, so we can do that. And did your daughter stay in John Cabot housing?
Yes, freshman year.
What about sophomore?
So definitely freshman year. No, sophomore year, they got an apartment, I believe.
And so
It
you
was
saw that.
that was the call. That if you're going for 4 years, and we weren't expecting her, we were expecting her to take 5 years maybe. That was the way to go. If I had to go back and do it, I'd do it the same way again. It was the right call.
Okay, and as parents, could you just share with other parents the housing, the security? Because obviously, if I say I'm a John Cabot representative, but I mean, you know, the fact that we do have the 24/7 security in housing that we provide I mean, the location of the housing. If you want to talk a little bit, if you remember, I don't know if you remember, Michelle, and the John
Yeah,
Cabot.
I mean, I remember it was extremely secure. You walked in, there was guards, you had to leave your passport to get up into the room. I mean, I thought it was wonderful.
Okay.
No, yeah, the security, it's the same at the main campus at Guarini. The security there, the security at the housing, the buildings were super clean, plenty of space,
Even
super
double-
Euro.
Now they're clean
What?
and sanitized. Now they're clean and sanitized with thermoscanners everywhere and little signs and everyone in masks and hand washing. And I'm pleased to tell everybody that John Cabot has never closed. We have been open since September. We opened with students coming from all over the world. We do random testing, thermoscanners, masks. We isolate kids, and we have so far, knock on wood, been very, very successful, very blessed, very lucky. But we've had, of course, some classes have had to go online, you know, just for some short periods of time. But all in all, it's great. So I think, you know, that's what I wanted to say was the housing issue, just for you to reassure parents that the housing is okay. Do you have anything else to add?
No, to emphasize the housing, I was expecting it. It wasn't what I expected. It was much better and safer and cleaner and convenient, close to the classrooms, and but just far enough away that they could enjoy a walk. And again, about the professors, I really didn't think about it as it was happening, but now that I got a chance to sit down and compare to our other experiences with our other children, those are two solid things about John Cabot.
Let me tell you, my kids, I have 3 kids who went through John Cabot. They still write to their professors. One has been out for 7 years, and she still writes for letters of recommendation for grad school and all that. And they're still in touch. And I still get this feedback from professors as well. Okay, is there anything? So we've touched a little bit about the orientation and the welcome, and then a little bit about the housing. And any questions, please write them in the Q&A box, preferably not in the chat. Anything else that you wanted to share before we move on to Stefania?
Take it away, Stefania.
Okay, Stefania. Stefania, you're mute.
Yes, I have. Good afternoon, everybody, again. My name is Stefania Marrone. I am Italian, from the very city that hosts this wonderful university, Rome. And I'm here today to share with you my own experience as a parent of the JCU alumni. I first walked through the doors of the JCU for the BAC in Easter 2014. I went to visit the campus with my 2 sons, Carlo Alberto and Gabriele. Both were interested in registering. I must say I knew these universities in the 80s because I have a friend of mine from Florida. She was studying there. So for me, it was well known because as the net said, it's half a century old university in Rome, correct? And when we've been there in Easter 2014, we were welcomed by Mrs. Danette and Mrs. Arianna, who presented the various curricula to us, while also asking what my boys were interested in. Immediately after we visit the premises, the boys were invited to follow a lesson on the topic of their respective interest. And they were immediately very, very excited, very engaged, let's say. Now my eldest son, who enrolled in the fall 2014 to study communication, graduated in summer 2017 with a major in communication and minor in creative writing. He then proceeded with the study for 2 years in London, where he received a master in conference and interpretation. He's currently working as a volunteer for the World Food Program. The youngest boy, my son Gabriele, enrolled in fall 2015, graduated in May 2019 with a major in business administration and a minor in entrepreneurship. Sorry for my accent. He then received his first master in sport and lifestyle management, as now is following his second master in marketing and sales. Of course, I have not many details to share on accommodation because actually I have my own flat in Rome. The boys were living there. I was moving from Brussels, where I worked for 15 years, to Africa. So I was very pleased to have the boys in this university because I was fully in trust of the professor corps, of the management of the curricula, of the security and everything. So I left the boys there and I continue my career abroad.
Thank you, Stefania. You know, that's interesting that you say that, because a lot of our students are students who, you know, whose parents are far away. And when parents bring their students to campus, whether for, you know, freshmen or transfer, one of the things they always tell us is, oh, thank you so much. It's so nice to know that you're here. And we give you, as families, the contacts of who to call if you need anything. And shortly, we'll be watching a short video and welcome from our Dean of Students, Carla Wiegers, who is actually the person who takes care of all the non-academic issues that you might have or any questions. But before we move on to Carla, I wanted to just basically touch on some things with Gregory and with Stefania. And I think both of you have said that that John Cabot has prepared your students for graduate school, for employment, and in a safe and secure environment. A word that is buzzing around our admissions office today, which I'm sure the families will be interested, is empathy and kindness. In this COVID world, and we will touch on COVID, but at the end of the presentation, what we're trying to do is we're also working with our counseling staff to try and see how to reach out to incoming students. Because I think this is a time when, as parents and as educators, we need to work together to help our students through this COVID pandemic and to the next step of their lives. They're all dreaming of, you know, breaking away in liberty, but there will be some issues with anxiety, and we're seeing that with students. And Carla's office and the counselors are already looking into extra support that we can give the students. So as parents and families, we thank you for your support in helping us, because there's a lot of anxiety, shall we say, but there's no need. I mean, we're all in Rome here. We've got all the safety protocols in place. It's a well-run machine, John Cabot. And having said that, Stefania or Gregory and Michelle, is there anything you'd like to add to what we've discussed?
I totally felt that our daughter was that those years, 18 to 21 years of age, was great formation for her. It was the right call for the next part of her formation. And when she was all done with it, she was ready for the next step. And she was completely employable either in Europe or the United States. She matured a lot from that experience, but wouldn't have it any other way.
Yeah, well, that's how I feel about my kids too. I mean, I do feel that First of all, studying abroad, whether it's getting a degree or a freshman abroad or studying abroad, it looks fantastic on a resume for graduate school, on an application for graduate school, on an application for a job. I mean, it really sets the student apart from students who don't go, who stay stateside or who stay in their country. So having said that, Stefania, anything else before we move towards the Dean of Students?
Well, I can say the boys had a very good experience. My son Carlo always repeats that his year at the John Cabot University were the best of his old school career, let's say. Is the institution that he remembers better, and he has changed quite a number of different schools in his schooling time, because we were moving around the world, and it always remember to everybody this fantastic experience. So also from a student point of view, it's a very nice experience. It's good. And we are glad if the kids are at school and are happy. It's easier for them to follow, to have hard time studying, following the classes, be ready for the tests. And happiness is the first thing, I believe, to have a successful student.
Yes, and most of our students, I must admit, there's a self-selection and they're quite happy. Now, I was told that we're going to be doing a second poll. So just because now we know that 80% of you are from the United States, and we're going to have a second poll asking you if you are parents of degree seeking, study abroad, or freshmen abroad. Freshmen abroad are students we have, here we go. Okay, I'm going to share the poll result. This is fantastic. We already have the results. This is so cool. I love this technology. Okay, freshmen abroad are people who come here for their freshman year and then go back to their home universities with whom we have agreements. Degree-seeking students are students who come to get their full degree with us. And study abroad students are students who can come for 1 or 2 semesters or the summer. And this is so exciting. Let's wait a few more minutes and then I will share the results of the poll. So let me write this down. And this will also help us with the questions. Okay, so freshman abroad is 50%, degree seeking is 37%, and study abroad is 12%. Cool. Okay, so we're going to be we will be answering questions for visiting students and for degree seeking. But as I always say, a student is a student is a student. Once a student comes to John Cabot, he or she is immersed in our beautiful, international, diverse, warm community, and they're all the same to us. And as parents as well, your parents, regardless of whether you're freshman degree seeking. So you are now seeing the poll results. So 49% freshman abroad, 38% degree seeking, and study abroad 13%. And this will help us respond to your questions better. Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. I love this poll thing. This is a new tool we're using. Okay, so now I'd like to go on to the next slide and to the video that our Dean of Students will do. And we have to close the poll and start the video. So this is Carla. She has an open door policy and she is located in the Gianicolo residence. And she is an amazing professional who can answer all your non-academic questions. Okay. We just have to push on the video that should be embedded. Okay, we did the test, of course, yesterday and it worked beautifully. So let's see why it doesn't work today. So, okay, here we go. Push this button. No, not play from the start. Okay. You have to wait until it loads. I believe that's what you have to do. Nope.
While we're waiting, can I ask a few questions to our parents that are in the Q&A? I don't know who wants to answer this, but there is a question that asks, what is something that you wish you had known prior to your child going?
Ariana, can you repeat, please?
What is something you wish you had known prior to your child going to JCU? Something that you discover afterwards.
Mine would be either having T-Mobile as my cell service or WhatsApp, that application, because the first couple weeks when I got back after dropping her off, heck of a time, getting in contact with her. And I'm used to texting or calling them and them answering within a minute or two. But I think Danette mentioned that first thing, get the WhatsApp application and you'll have like a seamless communication with your child. And I would recommend you get it and start talking on it while you're in the United States or wherever you're coming from a week or two before, so that when they do go to Europe, you can have that text string live and you're just not starting from zero. Yeah. So, and then the rest of the family, the siblings and the grandparents, we finally got them on it too. And that helped out a lot once we did that.
At the time, the communication was a bit more difficult. Nowadays, with WhatsApp, I think we can reach out each other without problems.
Yeah.
I don't have other comments about that.
Let's see if we have the video from Carl. If not, we can answer some of the questions. Let's see. Is the video starting? Doesn't look like it's starting.
Hi,
Yes, it is.
My name is Carla Wiggers, and I am the Dean of Students here at John Cabot University. And it is my pleasure to welcome all future students, families, and friends to JCU. So the Dean of Students office is responsible for a lot of the student support outside of the classroom, such as emergency assistance, housing placement, access to medical resources, clubs, activities, community service, just to name a few. JCU offers a wide variety of safety resources here on campus. We have on-site security that are stationed at the front of every JCU building. We have a 24/7 operational emergency phone that is always responded to by trained staff. And we have plenty of connections with local law enforcement and other resources to ensure you always get the care that you need. JCU prioritizes student health and well-being here in Rome. We have our Director of Health and Wellbeing who can connect you with local health and wellbeing resources such as private clinics or public hospitals. We have our Counseling Center, which can engage with students both in person and online for emotional and psychological support. We always act in collaboration with the JCU on-call doctor as well. Finally, JCU has negotiated a wonderful service with CISI Health Insurance. It's a really inclusive health insurance plan that provides comprehensive service, again, no matter where you are in the world. JCU is going to be your home away from home. So engage with your fellow students and the local community through a wide variety of our student services resources. During the COVID-19 pandemic, JCU has adapted our policies and procedures so that we're in line with all national guidelines as issued by the Italian authorities. Start your next chapter abroad here at John Cabot University in Rome, Italy. I look forward to welcoming you soon. Until then, ciao for now.
Okay, so that's our Dean of Students who did touch on the COVID and on the health insurance. The health insurance, CISI, you will be receiving a packet with all this information. And if you have health insurance, you can go and ask, to extend it internationally. But again, all this information will be sent to you after you pay a deposit. Okay, for further information, we're trying to get a parent program set up, a family program, I should say, at John Cabot. So we would kindly ask you to take this QR code and sign up for our newsletters so we have your information. We also have a toll-free number that is answered. And we also have an email, as I told you, admissions at johncabot.edu for degree seekers, study abroad at johncabot.edu for freshmen abroad and for study abroad students. Our Instagram, we have Meet JCU Rome, If that's really, we've got stories, and Allison puts stories all the time. We also have a blog that's very interesting to read, and you can find it by going to our website. And so there's really, again, as I said, especially now, during times post-COVID, we hope, communication with families and serene, tranquil communication with families is essential for our students' well-being, because these are not easy times for anybody. And we are partners, you, John Cabot, in helping your students transition smoothly. Lastly, I have a map of Rome that we put up here for those of you who have not been to Rome. John Cabot is located in the center of Rome. It's about a 15-minute walk to the Vatican, and about a 20-minute walk to the Colosseum. On the lower left, you see our campuses. We have the apartments, Lungara and Guarini, and the three main campuses, the Guarini, Tiber, Critelli. So we have three main campuses with classrooms, Tiber Cafe with meal plan. Any questions on meal plan? Yes, you should get a meal plan, at least a starter meal plan for your son or daughter. We have an amazing Tiber Cafe. Libraries, clubs and organizations, immigration services with visas. A quick word on visas, which is a question I know you're going to ask. You need to get a student visa at the consulate near you. Once you deposit, we send you a visa packet. You make an appointment, and then when your son or daughter comes to John Cabot, we take over from there with the permit to stay and the immigration services. So most of the questions I get from parents are course registration, health insurance, safety, visas, and housing. Those are the top questions. And I hope that we've touched on most of the questions. I see that Arianna is answering them anyway. So the next slide is time for questions. And if you would like to speak instead of writing your question, feel free to do so. But in the meantime, I'm going to respond to some of these questions. I'm just going to pick some because I have worked with freshmen abroad a lot. I have a question here, which is, when is the best place to go to come and visit? By far, Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving is the time that I always tell parents to come and visit if possible. There's no need to come over in September with them, because they come in groups. There's like hundreds of kids and they're like, bye mom, bye dad. They're fine. They have a group. Honeymoon wears off a little bit around Thanksgiving, so it'd be really nice if you can to come at Thanksgiving. Some questions about travel. Well, again, with COVID, I would suggest there's plenty to see in Italy. Normally, during non-COVID times, students travel all over Europe. But at the moment, I would say that, you can take a train up to Venice, to Florence, down to Pompeii. Pompeii is a day trip. Florence is a day trip. Let me pick more. Okay, Arianna, would you like to step in and answer? Because I can answer it, but just to have,
I just wanted to pose a couple of questions to our parents, Stefania, Greg, Michelle, given that there are some questions for the parents as well. The very first one that, it's written here is, my child is so excited about living off campus. And it's more affordable. This makes me nervous. Did your child leave off campus, and how did it go? Is there something you want to tell Renee to reassure her? Because you said that Allison lived the first semester or the first year on campus and then the rest off campus. And along those lines, I guess there's a lot of questions are about the streets near the residents are safe at night. So is the Trastevere area safe at night? And are there people all the time on the street? I mean, you can tell your experience also from what your son and daughters were telling you.
Is that for a degree-seeking student or a semester abroad?
Both.
Allie got used to the university by Thanksgiving, I guess, to Rome, and then she moved off campus, 6 months later. And I will tell you, when they live off campus, I would get a meal plan to supplement the house, what they're going to cook in their own apartment or something. Completely safe, close by, populated area, well patrolled. Not a problem. It wasn't a problem for us. She was a degree seeker, and she spent the first year at JCU housing. I think that helped her get used to the culture and the environment and how things are done and how they're not done. So.
Okay.
Stefania, given that you're from Rome, how would you feel that the streets around Trastevere are? Are they safe enough at night and etc.? I mean, obviously you're the mother of 2 boys, so it's a little bit different.
I think that streets at night are never safe nowhere in the world. I'm sorry. Kids should be aware of risk everywhere. And it's not Trastevere as such. As I told you, yes, I'm born and grown up in Rome. I may not feel at all uncomfortable in Rome because I'm a citizen, I'm a part of the town, of the city. I might feel more uncomfortable somewhere else, but of course, kids should be guided, they should be informed about risks, and especially if they are foreigners, they come in a new country, unknown country for the first time. It's not Rome as such, I think, and not even Trastevere. Proper information to the kids should be given by the parents, first of all, as a general idea, not because of Trastevere or because of Rome. And personally, we travel all over the world, and we never had problems actually. So even in dangerous places, let's say. So from my point of view, it's not Trastevere or Rome for sure. It's a general discussion to do with the kids.
And I can tell you that during orientation, we do have different sessions with the students on everything, but not only including safety. Obviously safety is part of it, but also, you know, grocery shopping, you know, or where is the next pharmacy. And also we have an emergency phone number that, you know, is getting answered 24/7. So anything that your students might need, they can call that number and somebody will pick up and help them out. Dana, do you want to answer some other questions, or you want me to
I'm
go?
going to answer. No, I was going to answer one of them. One of the questions, which is a simple question, is my daughter's a celiac. Does the cafeteria have gluten-free food? Yes. Italy, actually, what's really interesting, just for the record, Italy, the Italian state, not for non-Italian citizens, actually gives a stipend to celiacs. And so you can find gluten-free food anywhere. And there's a woman who runs the coffee, the Tiber Cafe. Her name is Eva. She's from Bulgaria, and she's like a mother hen. Once she knows that a student has an issue with, you know, gluten-free or whatever, she will ensure that the student is safely followed, and they'll have special meals. We have vegan meals, we have everything. Another question, just very quickly for Beth. How long is the fall semester? It's different for freshmen abroad. It's the same. It will be the same. We've just been told. So please go on to, for any questions, go on to our website, go on to academic calendar, type in academic calendar, and you will see exactly the days of classes. You will see when makeup exams are. You will see everything that you need, and also when to book your ticket back. I saw another question here about food. That's what Carl. Do most students adhere to the meal plan? I would say about 50%. How many times did these students eat at the cafeteria? What we have is a point system. So you put money on a card, and they can have proper meals, or they can have coffee, or they can use their points to have breakfast. And I would suggest it's very important to have a meal plan, even the middle meal plan, which I believe is 60 meals for what, $500, something like that. Because during exams, when students are tired or when they're stressed or when they don't want to cook, they just can go and just eat and have a nutritious meal. So back to food. Let me just finish all the food questions. So yes, I would personally, I had a meal plan for my kids, even though they did not live on campus, they lived at home. Okay, one of the questions about affiliations with schools, Michelle Dozuelo will answer. Ask her and she will answer. So she will be typing in the answer. The schools in Arizona that we're affiliated with, because we have so many, I don't know the answer for that. Actually, Gregory, would you like to answer this question? When our child gets off a plane in Rome, how do they make their way to the campus? Is there someone to greet them?
Well, there's a plenty of ways. The Leonardo da Vinci Excel line, you can take it right to Termini. You could take an Uber. You could take a white taxi. Was there someone to meet them?
Yeah. We have a whole orientation team. We have a whole team of student ambassadors who picks them up.
Oh, I thought you meant when you're visiting. No, we were already in Rome
Okay.
prior to orientation, and then we just kind of drove over. But we weren't there for that part.
So what you do is after you've paid your deposit, you inform, there's a whole portal that you log on to, and you inform us of when you're arriving, and we pick you up during predetermined times, which is like 7 in the morning till 9 at night. And then if you have any delays, you just let us know. And they make their way to campus very easily. In case of an emergency, I don't know. I remember a long time ago, there was a volcano ashes. Do you remember that? Or COVID flights canceled. Do you remember that? I mean, there was no students from all over the world because of the volcanic ashes in Iceland, was it? We had students honestly everywhere. So there's a Hilton at the airport that there's a walkway. You don't even need to leave the airport, and you can just check into the Hilton and then get to John Cabot if you arrive at like 4 in the morning. So it's not a problem. It's very safe. There's security at the airport. And again, within the airport, you just lift your eyes up and there's a big H for Hilton. You follow the walkway and the escalator and you go there. So it's really a non-issue.
When Allie traveled to get there, Philly had a flight every day at 6:30. Flight American Airlines 718 landed 9 a.m. local time, and then every day it came back at 11:30. We went out of LaGuardia a couple of times, but it's really easy to get to.
Well, with COVID, we will. Well, let's hope not, but there might be some flights canceled, but it's no big deal. These just happen. You get another flight, and we pick you up. I have a question. Did the last freshman abroad students get to travel off campus during COVID restrictions? Yes, of course. Students did travel. They do, their travel, they're careful, and it was pretty fine, and it's going to be better. Okay, here is a question on scholarships. Yes, there is a difference for Italian versus foreign versus US students. Yes. US students, we are part of the FAFSA. Fill out your FAFSA. International students, you will have to work with financial aid. Italian students from Italian universities, from Italian high schools, have a higher discount, and I'm going to answer this question. Ariana wants to answer. The reason is it's part of our mission. Our mission is to bring together, the American university into the Italian community, and by bringing Italian students from Italian high schools, we made inroads by offering higher scholarships. So there are 3 different types of scholarships in our financial aid office. For any questions, you can write to financial aid and your counselor. Let's see. Carrie, I'm going to answer this one live. How do you integrate freshmen abroad with the rest of the students? Are they considered part of the freshman class or a separate cohort? They are a separate cohort, but they are part of the freshman class because they're in classes together with other students, degree seeking from all over the world. They're in housing together. Of course, they're going to stick around with their friends, but we have some semesters, we've had about 400 freshmen between freshmen abroad and our freshmen. And so, of course, if they're 18, there's no difference to them nor to us. A question of, can you speak to orientation, how it may be different this September with COVID? If you don't mind, I have no idea. we are hearing that student universities in the States will be giving vaccines to their students. So of course it will be different orientation. We're probably going to be doing a lot of orientation online, but we will have meet and greets for the students to acclimatize themselves.
Yes, we have done a lot of the orientation this semester online, and then we have had some events done on campus. Hopefully by September, everything will be better. So we will be able to do a little bit more live sessions compared to what we have done now. Though we will keep the online orientation, I believe, for the future, because we have seen that it's really useful for the students to have things maybe even repeated twice. And also, you know, the online orientation, it means, you know, they have all the slides and all the information in one place. Anyhow, we use an app also when we have the live orientation on campus, where there is the map of the university, you know, the map of Rome and all the different sessions that they have to attend. So I imagine that it's going to be an expansion a little bit of that during the full semester.
This is a question I'm going to answer for Elizabeth from Trinidad and Tobago. That's cool. Yours is one is in Liberia, Stefania is in Liberia. Elizabeth is writing from Trinidad. This is really exemplifies John Cabot. The question is, can the student stay in housing during breaks? I believe that accommodations can be made, yes, who are far and who will not be going home. I believe so. So once your student comes, again, we take care of the student. Another question I had in terms of what we are looking for in terms of accepting applicants. What kind of student are we looking for? So we are a liberal arts university, and we take a holistic approach to the student. In other words, first of all, we are test optional, which means the SAT score is optional during this time of COVID. Many universities have decided, including I think Harvard even, has decided to waive this. Yes, we are looking for GPA, of course, because we want to ensure student success, academic success. We want our students to go on to good graduate schools, get great jobs. So yes, we're looking for GPA, and we're looking for a well-rounded person. So yes, any volunteering. Many of our students we found during research were Eagle Scouts and did civic duties or clubs and all that. So I hope that answers your question. The school is Monday to Thursday, no Friday classes except for makeup classes. Okay, so that's a question. When can students apply for housing? The application for fall is already live, so you can start applying for housing now. I believe it just went live this week. Okay, there is an anonymous attendee who asks, is there more information on what the live orientation entails on the website? I believe there's something on orientation, but what will happen is your son or daughter will receive an orientation schedule and that you can share, and we will be having webinars for families closer to the date. And any suggestions that you would like for future family sessions, what we were planning on doing was having, one now and one further on when your son or daughter gets closer to coming to John Cabot, and we'll tell you more about orientation, what to expect, meal plans, more nitty gritty, insurance and things like that. Oh, I have a question on the International Baccalaureate, help with college credit. Yes, any student who has an IB, a student gets college credits. We give 6 credits for an IB higher level with a 4 and above, and 3 credits for an IB standard level with a credit of 4 and above. And our registrar would have to look at the scores and award the credits. So congratulations. A question, again, housing, I knew it. Can a student apply for a dorm now and a roommate later? Yes, of course, but it has to be reciprocal. In other words, if John wants to live with Joe, Joe has to agree and also ask for John. So it has to be reciprocal. And yes, it will most likely be honored. Okay, Roman, your son is Italian, but raised in the US. And so it's not an Italian scholarship. It is the same as if he or she were an American, because he is in the United States, went to an American school. So the way we divide up, and the way most universities abroad divide up, is by where they were recruited and their kind of education. Ariana, would you like to respond to Daria about the COVID, or would you like me to?
That's fine. I can answer regarding, I mean, there were a bunch of COVID questions. I guess some of them were answered already. So where a student does when tested positive. So the first thing, we have a whole, you can imagine, a whole COVID protocol in place. Keep in mind that just on campus, we have a 24/7 on-call doctor, our fantastic Dr. Guerrero, and we also have, just to do testing to the students, we have just hired 2 nurses, because we do as well, and I don't know if you know that, we do random testing to both staff, faculty, and students. So even if they're not showing the symptoms, every week we do random testing to our community. If they show symptoms, the first thing that they need to do is they need to contact either the Dean of Student office or our Dr. Guerrero, and the whole medical team at JCU answers even via WhatsApp. So even more is fundamental to have WhatsApp installed into your son or daughter's phone, and they answer 24/7. So it might be even something not COVID related, you know, I have a question because I don't know, I have a rash, you know, and then the doctor can tell them, you know, show me a picture. So if they show symptoms, they call the doctor, and then the doctor assess if the symptoms are actually COVID related, and then we do follow the Italian government protocols. So it's not just you themselves that, you know, are going to be testing the students if they're positive or not, if they're showing the symptoms. So if they're not showing the symptoms, we still do random testing, and we do test the students once they get on campus. If they're showing symptoms, it's going to be the public health system that is going to tell you, okay, you quarantine. So that is something that we take care of. We immediately isolate the students, provide them with food, you know, basic primary needs that they might have and whatnot. And then the public health system will send somebody to have the student tested. If they're result positive, obviously they will have to quarantine. In that case, if they have a roommate, the roommate, unfortunately as well, would need to quarantine with the student, you know, and get tested as well. And then we do personally a contact tracing. So the public Italian health authorities do a contact tracing, but we do help the health authorities as well on campus and do the contact tracing ourselves. I can tell you that we had no cases of student positive in classes, you know, during the past semester. We've been very extremely careful. As soon as you get into any building, so I wouldn't call them campuses, we call them traditional campuses, but we're talking about buildings because we JC, it's an urban campus, so we have 3 different buildings. So as soon as you enter a building, you have to scan your badge, you know, they get your they measure your temperature, and you know, obviously if your temperature is high, you have to step out of the building, and we will call the doctor and the dean's office. And, you know, obviously, as I told you, we also do random testing to check on our students. What we have done this semester, you know, we've always, and the past semester as well, we've always been open. So we were never fully online, except when Italy went in complete lockdown, but that was for about a couple of weeks. No more than that. And then, you know, obviously this is valid for the full semester. What we do is we have 50% online and 50% on campus, meaning that, let's say your student has a class on Monday, let's say business 101, Monday and Wednesday. So Monday, 50% of the class will be on campus, and when the other 50% will be following the courses remotely, and then on Wednesday, the other 50% will be on campus. This is valid for today. I cannot tell you right now how it will be in the full semester, because right now we're abiding to the Italian regulations. So that is what we're doing right now. Anyhow, we always have to abide to the Italian regulations. It's not like just you can come up with, different COVID regulations, even if we wanted to, if we want to stay open.
Sorry, Ariana, I need to interrupt you because
Yeah, sorry.
we have like six minutes plus we have an extra 6, but just to answer, are students going to in-person classes during COVID? Yes, they are. As Ariana just explained, they are going, but some of them are split, they're larger. And then the other question is, how many people, students and staff, have contracted COVID? Ariana, I don't know, a handful, not many. Do you know how many? Because we get a report.
Not that many. Yeah, we get reports every week of how many staff, students, and faculty have been tested or have been found positive. But I think maybe
8, 10.
Yeah, really, really a handful.
Yeah, when we get a report, but they're isolated. So we've been. I'm going to quickly go through these questions and answer them quickly because I want to open up to further questions. Can students work their freshman year? Yes, we do not recommend it, but they can work 20 hours a week on a student visa. But our students here, they can teach English, they can babysit, they can work in restaurants, but I would suggest, if possible, not working their first year. Then I was also going to touch on internships. We have over 900 internships for students, but we can talk about that in our next parent session. How many of your students are on campus this year versus those that stayed home and do online classes? Well, I can tell you that normally we have 1,300 students this now we have about 800, but not all of them, but not all of them are doing online. So I
can tell you exactly how many are doing, because I checked that yesterday.
Thank you.
So right now, this semester, consider that we're half capacity this semester, but out of a little bit more than 700 students, we have 110 students online. So most of the students are actually on campus, which is very nice,
Okay, I have a hand raised, but I have 3 more questions before one of the panelists, I believe Beth, has raised her hand, but let me answer the questions from Amanda, Carl, and Laurie. Amanda, why did a daughter move off of campus? For the sake of time, I will answer, because mainly a student comes to John Cabot, lives in JCU housing. Housing has 24 security. There are no overnight guests allowed. So usually people move off campus because they want to live with their friends and because they want to have a little bit more freedom, I would say, and not have a security guard at the door all the time. That's probably one of the reasons. And there's other reasons. Most students move off campus the first semester in first year in most universities. I have a great question here. Does each campus have its own department? My daughter's an English literature major. Where will she attend her classes? We have 3 campuses and 14 majors. So what we do is the classes are mixed based on availability and enrollment. And English literature, kudos to your daughter, because she has professors it's a small major, and professors have readings. They go writing in the Keats house or Keats cemetery. They have readings with candlelight on the rooftops. I mean, English lit. We have students who English lit have gotten into Oxford, Cambridge. It's amazing. So last question I have before we go to the parents whose hands are raised. I saw that grants and scholarships are sent at the same time as decision letters. We have received the decisions email, but not the other. Who should I reach out to? You can write to financialaid@johncabot.edu or to your counselor. I believe your counselor probably probably is in touch with your son or daughter. Last question, my son is looking into economic classes. Can you explain which JCU classes would have starting next year? What you want to do is go to our website, go to class schedule and syllabi, look at last fall, and that will give you an indication of the classes that will be offered this fall. I hope that's a good question. That's the best I have.
I also wanted to mention another thing. Nonetheless, the pandemic, this spring semester, we had higher numbers of degree seeking compared to incoming class compared to last spring semester. And also for the fall semester, we have received the highest amount of applications ever. So we're very proud of that. We're very, very proud of that.
I can tell you, yes, Mariana was actually very modest. We have received 40% more applications for fall than we've ever had in the history, at the highest point. So we're very pleased with the work we're doing. And again, I do believe it's because of the quality of the professors, the word of mouth, and the outcomes. Even if students are freshmen abroad or study abroads, they still have outcomes. Whether you're a freshman abroad, you're a degree seeker, you can still do an internship at John Cabot. You can enjoy the lifestyle in Trastevere. You can stay in our safe housing. You can have a meal plan. You have an academic advisor that you work with all the time. You can have, we help you with your immigration and permit to stay. And I could go on and boast about my children, but I'm not going to, and what they're doing after John Cabot, but I can say that most of our children, I think, are doing really well. And so we will be having another parent webinar, I think probably in a couple of months. What is it now, February? Probably one in March. I think we should probably have one at the end of March. No, Ariana?
Yeah.
So any questions?
We have Beth who has her hands raised.
Oh, Beth, yes. I don't know how to allow
just did it.
talk.
Beth, if you want, you can talk. You should be able to talk.
Sorry, I didn't raise my hand. That was a mistake.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
I'm just typing.
Amanda, your son is not aware who the counselor is. Can you write to admissions@johncabot.edu, and that will get you, we'll respond. admissions@johncabot.edu. Okay, we have about 4 or 5 minutes left because they're going to close the building. Gregory and Stefania, do you have any more suggestions?
Stefania, I do.
Okay.
To the point of to point out home away from home, or how safe the environment is. It's just not the school or the classes or the housing. We found Allie. We found the nurse, the doctor, the local healthcare, and the private healthcare that's available there. I mean, she had a bunch of minor stuff, nothing major, thank God. But all the doctors there, Andrea, I think, perfectly fluent in English. If we had to have a conversation, even when she was home, just very added to how safe it was, and a healthy, pun intended, experience. So.
And one more thing to add, if I can, the graduation for the degree seekers is spectacular.
Yeah.
I can only support what the Bozzi said. It's true. I mean, doctors in Italy, of course, the kids from abroad come with an insurance. But even if you don't have an insurance, healthcare is public and is not difficult to access at all. And maybe students from the US or parents of students from US are not aware of it. It's not expensive and it's a good quality, and you can easily get it. Of course, everybody moving from one country to another, from one continent to another, needs a period of adaptation. This is clear, but the university is there for that, and there are no major problems in my view. And also, yeah, the graduation ceremony, amazing. I
Amazing.
was lucky because I had two, one in 2017 and one in 2019. It's a really a great event for the parents, for the kids, and beautiful. Thank
Great,
you.
great.
Okay, I have two more questions that thank you. I have one question about where has this gone? And I have a question. Okay, we are an accredited American university, and there was a question on student with issues with learning disabilities. We are accredited, so we have the same procedures in place as any American university. Otherwise, we wouldn't be accredited. So we give students extra time. They have a special person. In admissions, we are not supposed to even know that there are any issues, but we solve them with the dean of students and the dean. CISI insurance, health insurance covers everything, including hospital stays, personal visits, and you can look it up online. It's the most comprehensive student insurance. So as we are closing, I'm sorry, because I have, okay, I have one more question. Thank you, everybody. Biden just put another strict travel ban on EU travel, but if you find out by fall you can't go to Italy, then what? You get a refund. We are going to be refunding them. That's a very good question. We hadn't said that. If because of travel we cannot, COVID, you cannot travel, you will be receiving a refund. But we are sure that by fall, I mean, there's vaccines. We're going to be okay. We're being positive at John Cabot.
That includes also the tuition and housing deposits refund.
Yes, because it's not, it's nobody's fault. So I have one more question in the, all right, Ariana, are you ready? Okay, so what I think we've covered almost everything. And I would like to ask you to please join our socials on Instagram, follow us, read our blogs, because we spend a lot of time telling you stories on the blogs that I think are interesting. And for any questions, Michelle Rosuelo is there for your freshman abroad or any student abroad. She's actually online, as you know. And we are here for anything right to admissions at John Cabot, but do follow us. And as a follow-up, if you wouldn't mind, any suggestions on what we can do in future presentations, please write to admissions. And if there's any question that we didn't address, and we will be having another family session sometime in March, closer to the date. So I wanted to thank the Bozzi family and Stefania very much, because it's wonderful to have you here, because it gives more authenticity. And close by saying that we're all at John Cabot discussing empathy, kindness, gentleness. So I know there's a lot of stress during COVID, but let's try to, not to have quite as much stress, because your students are dying to get abroad. From what we're hearing from students, they want to break away, they want freedom. And we're trying to provide the infrastructure here for them to be able to do that. And your partner universities and your teachers, your high schools, your principals, we're working with counselors throughout the world, and we're all supporting each other as educators. So if you help us, that would be great. So any last second questions? I have 1 minute. No? Okay, well then, thank you very much for coming. This has been
you.
one. Thank you very much to everybody. Thank you, Greg. Thank you, Michelle. Thank you, Stefania.
Thank you.
Thank you, Anna. Thank you, Michelle. And thank you, Allison from the back. We haven't seen her. But all right, so I'm going to leave, and I believe we can close.
Thank
See
you.
you in
Thank you.
hopefully.
Ciao.
Thank you very
Ciao.
much. Ciao.
Ciao.
Ciao.